so much for joining us. We know that evenings are very valuable to you guys. My name is Jordan Fickey. I am the Coach Development Manager here at Special Olympics. Also on this call is Linda Lappy, who is our Senior Vice President of Competitions and Regional Programs. All of the regional managers are on as well. So Adrian and Corey from the Denver region, Michelle and Kyle from Southeast, Julie is on from the West, and Chop and Ashton are on from the Northeast. Feel free to ask any questions during this call. We're hoping it's going to be pretty quick for y'all. You can also utilize that chat feature and send a message to everyone asking questions. If you have any region-specific questions, please save those for the end, and we can address those at the very end. The purpose of this call is to make sure that everybody's on the same page, to distribute the information so you guys all hear it at once. We want everything to be consistent and to ensure that our competitions and events are running smoothly so that everybody gets that information. If you have any questions that are region specific, please wait till the end. However, if you think it's a question that would benefit the whole group, feel free to interject during some of these topics. So first off, we have officially announced the date for our Coaches Summit. That's going to be held July 20th, which is a Saturday. This summit is meant to bring everybody together to give out both sports-specific and non-sports-specific certifications. The non-sports-specific certifications include health, fitness, and wellness, motivating our athletes, leadership. We're working on some CPR and first aid certifications. We're going to enhance your knowledge of development and fundraising and kind of how to properly budget for your team. We'll also be providing a unified training for all of our coaches as well. Our sports-specific certifications that we're going to be offering this year are going to be basketball, track and field, softball, tennis, and flag football. There is more information to come on that, and you can see it on the website here under upcoming coach training sessions. So always feel free to reach out to me. My email is on the website, but then also any updates will be posted on this page as well. You guys will also be receiving emails from us in regards to updates there. Here are just a couple dates for our regional events. The regional Denver tournament is going to be May 11th at Rangeview High School. Adrian will be sending out more information on that as it comes. Entries are due to him by April 29th. And of course, if you have them earlier, please send them. The Denver and Northeast, are both going to occur on May 11th. The Southeast Regional Tournament is going to be May 4th at Fountain High School. Entries are due to Michelle by April 22nd, earlier if you have them. In the West, their regional is going to be May 5th at Stalker Stadium in Grand Junction, and entries are due to Julie by the 25th. And then, of course, our big state games are going to be June 7th through 9th at Colorado Mesa University and Grand Junction, and you will be receiving more information as we get closer there. Regional managers are going to send the entry forms and times to Susan, and she'll compile them and send them out to you guys to double check. As a reminder, we require 8 practices before that state tournament. So 8 practices before June 7th. You can also find additional information on your regional website. So feel free to check that out and always reach out if you guys have any questions. At this time, does anybody have any questions about the summit or any of those regional dates? Great. Let me just check the chat really fast. At this time, I am going to turn it over to Chop.
All right. Can I get can you guys hear me? Okay. I'm on headphones, so just want to make sure.
I got you, Chop.
Yes,
I can hear you.
Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to walk through the forms with you guys real quick, the actual entry forms and the Class A coaches rosters. So I would suggest, I tell all my coaches to do this, and I will tell you guys to do the same. If you go to get involved and scroll over and you go to coach, our coaching resources page is the most handy page for you guys to know on our website. No matter what sport you coach, at what time of year, everything that you need to be find will be found here. So once you get to this page, if you scroll down and you go to the coach handbook section, go to coach handbook by sport, everything you need will be broken down by sport in alphabetical order. So we're going to go through, obviously, the athletics and the track and field forms. First off, we're going to start with the easy one, the coach's roster. As you guys can see, it's labeled under each sport. So Jordan's clicking on that for us now. This is where you guys are going to register all of your coaches, not athletes, not unified partners. They will go on entry forms, but all of your coaches will be on this form, whether they're a head coach, assistant coach. If you're unsure that they're coaching, but they're helping during the season, please just put them on this form. So these are very fillable. I'm sure this will be repeated multiple times today, but be sure to save this form to your desktop first. It makes it a lot easier for you guys when you send it in or download it before you fill it out, before you send it in, so you guys can do everything on the computer itself. So it's pretty self-explanatory. In your region, you're going to put what region you're in. Sport will be athletics or track and field. And then the competition, you'll just put the event that you're going to. So for example, I don't hold a Northeast Regional Track event. All of those people actually attend the Denver meet, so they'll actually put the Denver competition in there. You'll put your team name in there as well, your head coach name, the head coach day of event phone, and then additional emails can be used for assistant coaches. If you have a city local program coordinator, like we do in many of the cities here in the Northeast, you can throw that person on there as well, just so they're in the loop of everything. And then please provide the head coach's email. And then if you scroll down, it's a pretty basic list, but just we need all the coaches on this form: first, last name, gender, and this is new this year, but we really do need your date of birth because we have a lot of multiples in our system, and in trying to get rid of those or dedupe the system to can you guys still hear me? I just got muted again for a second. Jordan.
Sorry, I'm trying to mute. There's some background noise from someone, and I'm trying to figure out who that is so I can mute them. I think it sounds like we're all good. So sorry about that, Chop. Continue.
Okay, sorry. So again, please put your date of birth in there for every coach. That will help us, again, clean up our system so we can not worry about paperwork as much as we move forward, because I know that's everyone's favorite part of the job. So does anyone have any questions on the coach's roster form that needs to be filled out and turned in with all entry forms?
No.
Awesome. Okay, Jordan, let's go to the actual forms. So we'll go back to the coach handbook and we'll look at the athletics entry form, just the basic one right on the coach's roster. And here we go. It's the same type of concept. You guys can fill everything out online or print it off and fill it out however you feel efficient doing it. But for your region, put the region that you're located in. If you're unsure, reach out to us and we'll let you know. The day of contact is a different aspect. We have a lot of local coordinators who run city programs, but maybe the coach that day is different or something like that. So if I'm Jeff and I'm the local program for a team, but Jordan is actually my coach that day, this is where you'll put her information. So just in case you guys are late for an event or running late or we don't see your team arrive yet and we're about to start opening ceremonies, this is where we're going to pull that information from. So please provide your day of contact and contact info in there as well. And then just like the coach's roster, we'll have the team and program name, the coach's name. If you want to put multiple coaches on there for people that we can communicate with that day, please feel free to do so. And then the emails as well. This is a very big thing that gets overlooked a lot, but on the top right, it asks if you plan on attending the state competition or not. Please fill that out. If you are unsure, click yes. Always click yes. If neither box is checked, we will assume you are coming because it's easier for us to actually upload the information for state and delete it rather than add you last minute. So your regional managers should reach out after your event is over just to double check and confirm that you guys will be coming, and then you'll start receiving emails from Susan. So it's a pretty typical self-explanatory form. Everything that's on here is offered for the event. So athletes get 3 events total. So the first thing you'll do is obviously fill in the athlete name, which is in the box on the left. Please fill in their gender, their date of birth. Again, the date of birth is super crucial in everything that we do to clean up our system, to make everything more efficient on our end when we send out our reports to you guys. So please don't, if you don't know what it is, you're welcome to send these in. Just communicate that to your regional manager so we can update that as we go. Yeah, so if you fill out the rest of that box, you can put if they're an athlete or a partner as well. And then you'll just fill in their times for the events that they'll be joining. Like I said, you can have 3 events total for the regional event leading into state. So you can't have more than that. I believe the only exception is the MATP, which there is a separate form for, I believe. So you'll click on the MATP with the checkbox. But yeah, and convert everything into minutes, seconds, and all of those things. So does anyone have any questions on the actual entry form itself?
So this is my first year filling this form out. I just want to clarify, if I have athletes that are doing runs and walks or softball throws, shot put, whatever, but they also want to do a relay, I only fill out 2 of the events on the athletics entry form and then would do another one for the relays, correct?
Yes, that is correct. So the relay would count as one of their 3 events. So, and we'll go through that form as well. Again, super self-explanatory, but the 2 that they'll do on here, put on here, and then on the relay form, you'll add that 3rd event for that athlete.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. If we don't have any more questions, we'll check on the next one. All right, and let's go to the wheelchair form. Jordan, please. And all of these forms are super similar. Again, you guys are just filling out the same basic information. Every form that we pull up, we're not going to go through each and every single one because they're so similar. But whatever is on the form is what we offer. And again, it's 3 events max. So the same thing for the wheelchair athletes. If you guys do have wheelchair athletes, we do need to know that because it's a separate aspect of the competition. So please do not include them on the standard entry form. We need to know separate that they are in a wheelchair. So again, it's the same form of the concept. Check if you're coming to state or not, and then these are the wheelchair events that we offer as well. So just please fill out the same information. Whoever just asked that question, it was a great question. If you guys do utilize the relay form, which Jordan, if you want to pull that up real quick as I'm finishing my chat, it's the same aspect. So you guys are welcome to, again, join in 3 events total for the standard competition throughout the event. And then here's the relay form. The big thing with the relay form, we actually click back on that before I forget to say this. This helps us tremendously on our end, especially Susan at state games. We really need you to put your relays in the order that the athlete or partner is running in. So if you have an all athlete team, it's super simple. But please list your athletes in order of 1 to 4 of the position that they're actually going to run that relay in. For example, if we do a unified relay team, so where we have athletes and partners, we encourage a 2-to-2 ratio, so 2 athletes, 2 partners, and then you have athlete partner, to run that race. And again, please put them in the order that you're going to race them in. That saves so much time on our end and your end when we send out everything to you guys. It's just less for you to worry about when we get to the actual competition. So also on this form, you see we have an alternate section to where you can put alternates in there in case you're unsure of an athlete maybe able to make it that week, or a partner for the same reason. They have a school event they have to get to or something of that nature. But those alternates need to be on that form as well. And we list them in our database as well, ready to rock and roll just in case we need to make last minute changes that day. So does anyone have any questions on the forms thus far?
I do have one question on the alternates for the relays. Are those alternates across the board? We usually wind up with like 7 or 8 relay teams. So can I have just 2 alternates for all of those teams, or do I need to list the alternates per team?
So you're saying you would want the same 2 people to be alternates for all 8 teams. So they would be backups in case someone didn't make it from those teams, correct? Am I understanding that right?
Correct. If I wind up having alternates, how do I list those alternates, and can they be used across all the teams, or is it just specific to one team?
No, so if you have 2 alternates that are going to be like your base, like, hey, if someone doesn't show up, they're going to be able to be utilized here, you can list them for all of the teams. However, if you say you have 8 teams, let's say you have 4 of your teams where someone doesn't show up, that alternate can't run in those 4 races. Does that make sense?
Okay, so I got to make sure I have multiple alternates just in case.
I would recommend maybe training or having people ready for each team just in case, or if you want to split it up to where if you have 8 teams, if you have people that are just your alternates, you could have the same 2 for like 3 of the teams, and then the same 2 for 3 of the other teams, and then the same 2 for 2 teams, because then that gives them 3 races. That's a very, extravagant situation that would happen for. But if you have John Smith as an alternate for all 8 teams, he can still only run 3 races. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, that does.
Yep. Perfect.
Thank you.
Of course. Does anyone else have any questions on the forms in any capacity? All right. If not, I will lead it into Adrian with all the fun stuff with the paperwork. Thanks, guys.
Adrian, can you give us a test? I unmuted you. Adrian?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Can you hear us? Adrian?
Do you guys hear me?
Yes.
I can.
Okay. This is wonderful. Off to a good start. Okay, so now we're going to talk about everybody's favorite part of the call, paperwork. All of you guys should have already received your updated paperwork reflecting your 2018 rosters from regionals, from each one of your regional managers. Please, I highly encourage you all to take a look at those and make sure that if anybody is missing those paperwork, that you get on it at this point, because it does take a little bit of time to collect all that paperwork. So first thing I want to talk about is Class A's. So if you guys go to renew your coach registration Class A, that's where your partners and coaches can renew your Class A. Very straightforward. It's all online. If you're under 18 years old, you don't have to pay. Otherwise, it's a $17 fee for to process the Class A. There is a new portion to the Class A where you can, or the person entering can enter the coaches or parents or whoever's email at the end of the form, and they will receive a copy and notification once the Class A is complete. So I know lots of you like to be able to hang on to the Class A paperwork once it's completed. So I would highly encourage you to share your emails with your team ahead of them completing the Class A so that you receive that copy. Okay. Now let's move on to medicals. We have a couple updates with our medical. We have joined the 21st century, and now you can complete your athlete medical online. So the athlete medical is fully online. Jordan clicks this link here. We'll be able to show you just the early process of this. It's a really great, straightforward process. The first page gives you step-by-step instruction on how to complete the medical form. So it's fairly straightforward from there. In order to get started, I highly recommend that you already have your completed physical form completed by your physician. You can, sorry, I'm following along where Jordan's going. So go back to that main page, Jordan. So on this main page, you can download that physical form there by clicking that link. This is a physical form, for, just an easy one-pager. Your athlete's physician, doctor can complete this form. Parents can hang on to that, and then they'll need to scan, take a photo to be able to then upload that electronically through the online medical form. So going through the step-by-step process, you won't be able to get past step 1 until you have uploaded the completed physical form from the doctor. Once you've uploaded that, then you'll be able to go through the step-by-step process to be able to complete all the rest of the information that you'll need. So contact information, the waiver, etc. The stuff that's we constantly have issues with incomplete paperwork. So hopefully this process will eliminate all those incompletes that we constantly receive, and then will show up on your end reflecting as missing paperwork when we send that back to you guys. So I highly encourage you to share this with your teams and your families so that they can then complete this online. At the end of the form, just like the Class A, there's an opportunity for them to input your coach's email. So when they do that, you'll be able to receive a full copy of the completed medical form for your records. It'll also be uploaded to the regional manager and to our data team directly so that they can start getting that into our database immediately. We also have a paper version still for those of you that still want to go the old school route. You can find that here. You can download it, or you can contact our medical team. Their email is at the bottom of the page prior to the one that Jordan's on right now, that landing page, or there's the email right there that she's highlighting. You can reach out to them directly for a PDF version of this form as well. And that covers Class A's and athlete medicals. Does anybody have any questions on that before I hand off the baton? Outstanding. Then I'm going to hand off to Susan, who's going to talk about rules and points of emphasis. Susan?
Great. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay.
Yes.
Fantastic. I'm just going to touch on a few things that Jeff already touched on. So Jordan, if we could go back and pull up the entry form, I think that would be probably the most helpful for what I'm going through, especially for some coaches that might be new to the program. So as Jeff said, you can be in 3 events. That can be 3 individual events, or that can be 3 2 individual events and 1 relay event. Okay, so as Jordan opens up the athletics entry form, we'll see that we offer a variety of races. We offer walking races as well as running races, everything from the 25 up to the 5K. Okay, we also offer some longer distances in the walk race. So just keeping in mind that if you are doing a running race, you cannot be in a walking race. So kind of the rule of thumb is if you have an athlete that you're training to be in the 100-meter walk and gets excited in practice when there's someone beating them and starts to run, put them in the 100-meter run, because they won't get disqualified then. Any athlete that is running in one of our walk races will be disqualified. And the rule of thumb that we use is if they have more than 1 foot off the ground at one time. Okay, so in the walk races, 1 foot is on the ground at all times, and we have judges that will keep an eye on those things. So I feel like we run into the situation where some athletes just do that walking and then all of a sudden get to the event and get excited and want to run. If you think that's going to happen, put them in a running race so that they will not get disqualified. If they walk in a running race, there's no penalty to them other than their time being slower. They will not get disqualified if that's the case, okay? So first point there is either a walk race or a run race. They cannot be in both. Same thing for the relay. If they're in the walk races, they have to be in the walking relay, not the running relay, okay? Any questions on those items? Great. The next section over here, we have our throwing events. So the 3 throwing events that we offer are our tennis ball throw, our softball throw, and our shot put. athletes can choose to be in one of those events. The way Special Olympics International looks at that is that the tennis ball throw is really that developmental event to lead to the softball throw to get everyone into the shot put event then, okay? I also want to encourage coaches to not just put people in the shot put because you think they can do it. So any athlete that's in the shot put really needs to be trained on it. We definitely want them to not hurt themselves as well as not be disqualified in the shot put. So if you have an athlete that's throwing really well in the softball throw and you're not sure on how to train in the shot put, I would reach out to your regional manager or Jordan so that we can get you some techniques on the best ways to train to get an athlete into shot put, okay? Any questions on our throwing events? Sorry. Great. Next up will be our jumping events. So we have the standing long jump, the running long jump, and the high jump. The majority of our athletes that are doing the high jump are athletes that are doing the pentathlon. So for those of you who are not familiar with the pentathlon, I'll touch base on that in just a minute. But we do offer the high jump as a standalone event if that's something you have an athlete that's interested in. The standing long jump, again, is kind of the developmental leading up to the running long jump. Standing long jump, just kind of briefly, they're standing on 2 feet and they're taking off from those 2 feet. Running long jump is they have a distance to run and they're taking off and jumping on that. The running long jump does require a 1 meter minimum. That is for safety reasons based on the various tracks that we run on, just to make sure the athletes will make it into the pit. Okay. Any questions on our jumping events? Then to touch base back on the pentathlon, for those of you who are not familiar with it, we have some fantastic pentathlon athletes. And the pentathlon compete in 5 events. So it's the 100-meter run, the 400-meter run, the shot put, the running long jump, and the high jump. So as you can imagine, during a regional one-day competition, that's quite a bit. So you definitely want to make sure your athletes are well trained in in all the elements of the pentathlon. And then during state, that is split up over 2 days. Okay. Any questions on those items?
Can you please repeat the 5 pentathlon?
Yep. It's the 100-meter run, the
Okay.
400-meter run, the shot put, the running long jump, and the high jump.
Thank you.
Yep. And there is a section in our rule interps that list all those out if you need to go back and refer to that as well. And that's also under this section. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions on those events? Okay. We want to touch base quickly on our athletes that are visually impaired. So ideally for all athletes that are visually impaired, coaches and teams are providing a guide runner for those athletes. In any events, 100 meter and under, we'll be using a guide rope. We actually have a system, it's more of a baton system. So each athlete's holding a baton and they're connected by a short rope. In any events, the 200 and over, athletes will be using a guide runner, okay? Those guide runners will be provided by coaches for the athlete. It's gonna be someone that works with them on a daily basis, okay? There is additionally a section in our rule interps in regards to that. The basics of it will be the guide runner will be going ahead and it's at sorry, you just went past it, A5, I believe it is. You'll just be giving directions, straight, right, left, etc. The guide runner may not coach the athlete or pace the athlete, okay? If that's happening in any of our races, pacing of the athlete, which means you're a coach on the inside of the track and you're walking down the track cheering on your athlete, athletes can be disqualified for that. So we want to make sure you guys are not doing that. I know occasionally we have some coaches that are on the track for some extra assistance and things like that. But again, please make sure you're not pacing your athletes to cause them disqualification. Okay? Any questions on those items? Okay, great. And then we just want you coaches to be aware, make the best selection that you can for your athletes, to challenge your athletes. All athletes don't need to be in the softball throw and the 100-meter dash. Okay, it spreads out. That works for some athletes. Some athletes are perfect in those events, but a lot of those athletes that can run the 100, we'd love to see be challenged to run the 200 or the 400 or possibly even the 800. So, after your first few practices, I would just go ahead and keep that in mind as you watch your athletes train, and definitely challenge them, push them to that harder event. I think we've seen that happen a great deal, especially as we took some track athletes to the USA Games last year, and we really pushed them and challenged them in harder events, and they all rose to the challenge and did a great job out there. So just make sure you're keeping in mind that your athletes are there to be challenged and that you guys have the ability to challenge them. We offer quite a few events. If you're not sure if you're in between, reach out to your regional managers, Jordan or myself, and we can kind of talk through you the best way to figure out what events would be best for your athletes as well. Okay? Any questions on those items? Great. Jordan, I think if we can go back down to, let's go over to the competitions page, please. So all athletes that compete at the regional event will be eligible to compete in the State Summer Games, which will be held June 7th through 9th in Grand Junction. This is the 50th year of Special Olympics Colorado. So we're really trying to do some fantastic things to highlight the amazing accomplishments of our athletes. That being said, if you have athletes on your team that have competed for 30, 40, 50 years, please reach out to your regional manager to let us know so that we can highlight those athletes. I think we've got some athletes that have been doing this for a really long time, and we want to make sure we highlight all of their accomplishments. So keep that in mind and reach out to your regional managers in that situation, okay? As far as entries go, you will not need to resubmit anything to us. We will take all of your entries from regionals and we will transfer them over to state. What I'll do at that point is I'll get an email out to all of you guys and let you know this is the roster we have. These are the events that your athletes are in, and you'll have a certain amount of time to review that and get that back to me. During that time period, you can let me know what athletes do not plan on coming. You can also let me know if you think there's an athlete that has been working hard all season and can move up from that standing long jump to that running long jump. Let me know that as well, and we'll be able to make that switch. Also keep that in mind for some of our running races. If you really think they can tackle that 400 or that 800 after you've seen them at regionals and continue to train, let me know of that information and we'll make sure we have times on that as well, okay? You will need to submit a couple of things for state. We will need to confirm the coach roster. There will be a housing form and a meal order form that you'll need to submit as well. Those will all be posted as we get a little bit closer. All items related to summer games will be posted on this competition page. So this will house general schedules. The information I need filled out will be on this page, as well as specific start times and schedules once we get closer. So feel free to hand this website out to families, assistant coaches, athletes, whoever you may need to. Everyone can go to this website to find out all the information, okay? Opening ceremonies will take place on Friday night. Our time is still to be determined, but we will, like I said, we do have some really fun and neat things planned, so we would love to get as many people in the crowd as we can to really celebrate the athletes and all the accomplishments they've had all season. And then competition will take place Saturday to Sunday from about 7:30 to 4:30, okay? We will provide lodging in the dorms for a 4-to-1 ratio with coaches or unified partners. So you can use the unified partners in that as well. If there is a chance where you would need one-on-one supervision, you can go ahead and make a note of that on the housing form, okay? We are working with Colorado Mesa for some of the teams that have younger athletes to see if we're able to work out some sort of different housing for those folks. And I've reached out to them and I'm waiting to hear back. So as soon as we hear anything back on that, we'll go ahead and share that information with you. But as a coach, if you've got some younger athletes that you think would do better with parent supervision in the dorms, reach out to your regional managers so we can go ahead and get the process started to make sure that that's all gonna be squared away once we get to summer games. As we've had in the past, we'll be having healthy athletes screenings on Saturday from 1 to 7. Please take advantage of that. I believe this year we're going to be adding opening eyes, which will be great for many of our athletes that'll be there. We also will have Olympic Town happening on Saturday from 1 to 4 o'clock, 1 to 8 o'clock, and then that will be followed by the victory celebration and dance that evening as well. Okay. We also, every year at summer games, do have a family reception. We'd love to get as much of your family information as possible. If you have a list that you use to communicate with families, if they're okay with you sharing that with us, we would love to get this information in a family newsletter so that you have less questions to answer from families and that we can answer some more of those questions. So if you have that list to share with regional managers, please do so as well. Do you guys have any questions on state, any entry forms, any event questions that I covered? Great. I think I'm all set then.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Susan. I did want to highlight something for you all. If we can go back to the coach resource page, we have actually had some exciting news. We've hired on a full-time fitness manager here at Special Olympics. Her name is Jenna Tweedy, and her role is to help our coaches enhance their knowledge of fitness and drills. And so in doing so, she has created a number of really useful online resources for you guys. So as you can see, you can go to the coach resource page and then click on practices and drills, and it'll be separated out by sports. So of course you guys will look into track and field and find these really helpful videos. Of course, feel free to peruse the other sports if you're interested, but again, they're sorted out by sports. So this is a great tool and resource that we would love for you guys to utilize. If you have any other questions or have any feedback for us, we always welcome it. Feel free to reach out and we can kind of guide you through those resources. They're quick, as you can see, they're kind of quick videos to kind of take you through that. Any questions about that resource or really any of the things that we've covered?
Jordan, this is Linda. I have one clarification in regards to the athlete medicals. I just want coaches to know that you don't have to take our form into the sports physical. When your athletes go to the physical, we know they're going to forget forms and different things. And so when they schedule that, they just need to make sure that which on pretty much all sports physicals there's a link that says this athlete is able to participate in sports. It's really important that gets checked off, essentially. That's one of the things that we look at. Obviously, we want all the rest of the information filled out. But if that is not checked on the physical that the doctor provides, then it will be an incomplete medical and we'll have to track them down and be able to get that redone. So just to know, they don't have to use our sports physical form, but we like them to use it just because it has all the information that we need in order to get them cleared.
That's a great point, Linda. Thanks so much for bringing that up. Any other questions that would be useful for the whole group?
I was just wondering, would we be able to get our information for our athletes before regionals? Because since we get the information before state, like the day before state, would we be able to get an email with all of our information, like the timings and everything, before regionals this year?
Go ahead and field that question. We should be able to do that for you. We'll be able to have a general schedule put out, and then we will be able to get you a more specific schedule as well for both the Denver, and we can do that in the Southeast region also.
Okay, thank you. I just know it's a little hectic for us since we're one of the bigger teams, getting paperwork the day of and trying to give all the information to the parents and stuff, whereas at state, since we're able to sit down that night and kind of get everything sorted out, it's just nicer at state having the paperwork a day earlier.
Sure, and I would go ahead and follow up with that and say that if you haven't gotten information, like whatever you're looking for, at least by a week in advance, let us know, and we'll do our best to get to you what you would need to have. If
I'm saying like the folder that we get like at regionals when we first check in, that check-in folder with all of that information. That's what I'm talking about, having it at least the night before regionals.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, make sure I'm pretty sure last year we sent that out earlier than that. So if you don't get it and we're about a week out, just feel free to bug us and we'll make sure that we get that to you. Because I know that'll make your day so much easier if you have that information before you check in.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, Susan, this is Patsy from Larimer or from Fort Collins. I have a question.
Go ahead, Patsy.
Okay, are you working, I don't know if I understood you or not. Are you guys working on getting hotel rates for possible discounted hotel rates for Grand Junction, or do I need to do that for my own area?
Yes, we are working on that. We actually have a new accommodation sponsor, Hotel Engine, that's coming on board to do. Patsy, I will get that posted as soon as we get that information from them on the rates that we have, and we'll put that on the front end, because I know you like to make reservations early while there's still space. So I'll put that on the list of things for us to get taken care of over the next couple of weeks, and then that'll be posted on the competition page for you.
Okay, and just so you know, those Hotel Engine things that you use, they always get so complicated. It would just be easier if you could give us a contact person at whatever hotel's giving us the best deal. Because whenever
I think what I'll do, Patsy, is I'm going to follow up with you to kind of figure out what the issues have been, so we can make sure. I mean, we're working with them to make your lives easier, and if it's not making your life easier, we gotta figure out to make sure that happens. So
okay,
I'll reach out to you over the next few days so that we can figure out what the issues were, so we can make it as easy as we can for you guys.
okay, Susan, thanks. What happened?
Great. Any other questions for us?
Yes, I have a teen that wants to volunteer at the state games. What does that teen need to do?
We will have the volunteer page posted fairly shortly for that. But why don't you go ahead and, I'm sorry, who is this that's talking?
I'm sorry, this is Kelly with the Yaks team here down in Colorado Springs.
Great. Why don't you go ahead and shoot Michelle an email, and if you have my email address, copy me on that, and we will get it to Georgia so that she can get the information directly to you.
Okay, that would be great. Thank you.
Great.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
You guys were talking about hotels, and is that for the regionals that are coming up in Grand Junction?
That would be for our state things that are coming up in Grand Junction. I'm not sure, Julie, do you set up hotel blocks for the regional events that you have?
I can find out a few places that have rooms, good room rates, and let my coaches know, Deb. But the room rates that they're referring to are those that are not staying in the dorms. There will be dorm housing at state games.
Oh, okay. I just didn't know if that was a new thing because of the change of where the regional was from us.
No, but I can definitely put, coaches in touch with some places that have a continental breakfast and some room rates.
Okay, if you come up with some of that, just send it to me then.
You bet.
All right, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Any other general questions for just general track and field?
I have one other quick question. For the Denver Regional, is there going to be food provided, or do we need to make sure that we have food for our athletes?
Adrian or Chop?
Yeah, I know they might have had it. I'll just jump in. I know that.
Sorry, I was muted.
Okay, go ahead, Dan.
Yeah. I would encourage you guys to bring your own food. We'll work to have a food truck there, but they don't have a concession stand at the facility.
Okay.
All right, I just want to know ahead of time. That way I can plan for that. Thank you.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, excellent. It sounds like all the general track and field questions have been covered. At this time, we'll go ahead and let everybody go. If you have region-specific questions, feel free to stay on. We can answer those for a couple more minutes. And if not, feel free to shoot either your regional manager, Susan, or myself an email, and we can get you taken care of. So at this time, everybody else is free to go unless you have a region-specific question.